So what's up, everybody? It's your guy Simeon, the Mortgage Man, and you all know my motto: everything Simeon touches turns to soul. Today, I've got a special one for you. I'm sitting down with a man who's not only the CEO and founder of CMG, but one of the most genuine, humble leaders in the entire industry. It's Mr. Chris George. Listen, CMG isn't just a mortgage company. Now, a bank CMG, it's a movement from game changing products like all in one loan, home funded, list to lock, and over 900 products to a culture that truly puts people first. Chris has built something different. So, whether you're a first time home buyer, or trying to make the dream a reality, or a loan officer looking for a place where you can grow and lead, this conversation is going to be a blessing to you. Here's the CMG mantra that caught my attention immediately: every customer, every time, no exceptions, no excuses. So let's dive in and hear straight from the heart of the man behind CMG. Welcome to Mr. Chris George. How
Thank
you
you,
doing, Chris?
Simeon, for letting. I'm well. Thank you for having me on your show today. It's an honor, and I'm excited to see you again. I know we saw each other a couple of weeks back, but
Yeah, in
now
Indianapolis, exactly.
fantastic seeing you on the screen.
Yeah, Chris, I want to go straight to it. Chris, let's rewind the clock to 1993. Back in California when CMG was just getting started, what made you take the leap and start CMG? And did you ever imagine it would grow into what it is today?
I think that I had already started my first company a few years before that, and I had really enjoyed the educating part of this job, the ability to be able not just educating borrowers, but educating our colleagues, salespeople, our operations people, et cetera. I felt like I wanted to do something different, and I didn't really want to compromise either the company culture or the personality of the company. I'd worked at a couple of other places that I just didn't know that I felt as at home there as I wanted to feel. And so I thought I could do it a little better way, differently. I also felt like we could probably grow and not lose sight or track of who we are, not just who we are to one another, but who we are to our customers and our referral sources. And so as a result, starting the company in my garage, this was back in 1993, as you've mentioned. There was a lot of activity going on in the mortgage industry back then, and it was a very cohesive group of folks. A few of those people just recently retired from the company, so
Wow.
it, it- we yeah we like to say that those days were the garage days, not DAYS, but DAZE. So we had a lot of fun back then, and we still are today. We're creatures of a habit, so it's important for us to be true to one another. And life is short, you know that. So we like being good to one another. We think we can do that and also grow at the same time. And no, to your answer, I never thought we would get to where we are today. It's something beyond even my wildest imagination.
One of the things that draw me to CMG was I've been to quite a few different companies, but one of the things I caught very quickly when I was researching, I researched you. And a lot of times you read about people, but when you hear and you understand, and then you talk to people who've been at your company for 20 and 30 years, I was like, the retention at CMG just caught my attention. People were telling me I'm retiring here. And I've never heard that in our industry. So that caught my attention so quickly. So, Chris, I got a question. First off, I've got to say, every time I'm around you and hear you, I feel your heart for people. Where does that come from?
I think you've heard me say this before, Simeon, that I kind of flunked my way out of high school. I didn't go to college, and I always felt incredibly fortunate to have, like so many other people, stumbled into this industry. When I first got into the mortgage industry and I was a loan officer. I really wasn't all that interested in making any money. I just wanted people to like me. I just,
Mm.
when you're in high school, if you're good looking, or if you got good grades, or if you're good at something like sports or music or acting or whatever, you're going to have a good high school experience. I was not good at any of those things. So
Hmm.
getting out of high school, I just thought, I just want people to feel like I'm worth something. So I would do my first loans. I'm sure I lost money on all those loans, but it turns out that people were happy with the way I served them. And
Hmm.
because of that, they told their friends and family about me, and I could make some money on their friends and family. And I became a pretty good loan officer. But I felt it was important to me. A lot of people, I guess I'm not as educated enough to use kind of these big words. And
Hmm.
I kind of try to be as direct as I can and as transparent as I can. And I think that resonates with people, especially today. I think, a lot of people make mistakes and nobody owns up to the mistakes. What we do
Hmm.
here is that if it's half your fault, half my fault, I'll take 100% of the blame. And now let's talk about what happened, how we fix it, how to make sure it not happens again. Look, if it's 90% your fault and 10% my fault, I'll take half of the blame because I want to get past blame. I want to look at, here's what happened, here's how we fixed it, here's how we made sure it doesn't happen again. And I like to tell people, make new mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes over and over, because if you're making the same mistake, you don't have a good system. Your system isn't operating properly to prevent you from making that mistake. So from my perspective, it has always been something that it was just a blessing to find myself here. And early on, I felt like if I'm lucky enough to be successful, I still consider myself the least qualified person to be in this job. And I'm always the dumbest guy in the room. And by the way, it's a mindset. If your mindset is to be the dumbest guy in the room, meaning if you approach going into learning something as a
Hmm.
person that doesn't know everything about that thing, you're eager to learn everything about that thing. You don't get hooked up with the fact, well, I already know that. Because
That's
the
good.
person that says they already know everything doesn't know everything. And
Right.
so
Right.
you miss stuff. So there's an old saying, both my parents were teachers, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So until you're ready to
Mm.
learn, you are not ready. There's no point in teaching somebody that doesn't have the propensity to want to learn something.
Mm. That's good, Chris. That's so good. I mean, I even think about sometimes when I have conversations with my counterparts or realtors, the first thing they tell me is that, well, I don't like change. Well, the first thing I say is that you probably won't be in this business very long because change has always been a part of our business in the last 20, 25 years, and I'm sure longer for
Sure.
you. Chris, I started the business in 2000, and my commitment for this business has just been overwhelmingly enjoyable. I love serving people. And now, 25 years later, over 2,000 transactions closed, there's something that I want you to speak to. Right now, a lot of people are nervous about buying a home. Interest rates, market fears, all of that. What would you say to first time buyers who feel like home ownership is out of reach?
Well, first of all, it's a fantastic question, and one that I have addressed a number of times in my career. Let me back up just a little bit and talk about home ownership. The the concept of home ownership does a couple of things that are profound for a family. There's an old saying that real estate will make millionaires. It does all the time. People that buy pieces of property and put down roots and be able to say, "This is mine," get to improve it, get to treat it and take care of it the way that they want it taken care of. But it's more than just wealth building. It's more than just building generational wealth. There are homes sometimes that are so impactful to families, is that the home itself becomes a member of the family, and they almost
Mm.
pass it down generationally because there are just so many memories surrounding the home. Your house tends to be the backdrop to every significant event that has ever occurred in your life. First day of school, New Year's Day, Thanksgiving, Super Bowl, fill in the blank.
Mm.
And so, because of that kind of tapestry of memories, people really see their quality of life impacted by their home that they live in, one
Mm.
that they own. Because think about it, people talk about, oh, I'm going to rent and I'm going to, go ahead and do what I'm going to do. The fact of the matter is that every renter in America is paying the mortgage payment for the owner of that home.
Right.
So
Right.
you're building wealth on behalf of another person, not on behalf of yourself. So what I would say to the first-time home buyers or even the move-up buyers, you're going to impact your financial position substantially, and you're going to have to likely stretch. We did, almost everybody does, number one. Number two, more importantly than your financial picture, you will have an impact on your quality of life. You're going to see your home become a focal point in just not your own small or growing family, but even your broader family. The
Mhm.
family, your neighborhood family, your work family, your church family. You're going to see the home represent another component of your quality of life, and don't put it off.
Mhm.
With few exceptions, that most of the time real estate appreciates. Of course, there are times in America's history where real estate did not appreciate, in some cases depreciate. But the lion's share of the history of home ownership in America has people owning a piece of property, and years later the value has gone up. They've taken some tax advantages, and last but not least, they've also again improved their quality of life. I get this question all the time. I had this question back in 2007, 8, and 9. Oh, owning real estate is no longer the American dream. It's the American nightmare. You
Mhm.
ask all those people that bought homes at 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 how they feel about the American dream today. Because I can
Exactly.
guarantee you, it doesn't matter nearly where you are in America, your home probably has doubled, if not
Right.
tripled in
Yes.
value from the homes you purchased in 10, 11, 12, 13 for 10
Mhm.
years ago.
Mhm.
So buy the house. Now, some people aren't ready to buy. Some people may not be ready to buy it here in this month or next year. But meet with a realtor, meet with a loan officer, and they'll talk with you through how to get ready to buy. And maybe
Right.
you buy in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10 months. But start the process. Don't delay any further, because that delay will just mean at this time next year, you'll be saying, dang it, I wished I had started the process to buy a home last year because I would be a homeowner this year.
Right. That's great, Chris. I mean, so many times I get conversations with people who are not prepared to purchase, but I give them a roadmap, and to have them come back and then succeed in home ownership, it is the greatest fulfillment I've ever had in this business. And actually, they pay me to do this, and I love it. But one of the things I want to talk about, CMG is known for thinking beyond the loan. How do products like All in One or Home Funded or Bank CMG help families build real wealth?
Well, you mentioned a couple of things about coming up on 3 months ago. We purchased a bank, a nationally chartered bank, state chartered but nationally recognized bank out of Wisconsin. So that's going to allow us to actually start offering product that we can't offer as just a lender, right? As a lender, you kind of play on one side of the balance sheet. When you're a banker or a bank, you can play on both the liability side, the debt side, mortgage debt side, but you can also play on the asset side. So we're going to start devising and developing and marketing product to our borrowers on the asset side, checking, savings, investment type of products. Home funded is a unique way for first time home buyers to be able to crowdsource their down payment. So
Mhm.
a lot of people say that people's net worth or young people's net worth is their network. So
Mhm.
they're the people they went
That's
to
good.
school with, people that they go to church with, the people they play softball with, the people they work with, the neighbors and friends. And so a lot of people today are looking for, maybe when they're getting married, or even for that matter, looking to buy a first time home after they've been married, a little help from their friends and family. And so, what Home Funded does is allows you to basically put together a little story and promote it out via social media to your friends and family of helping you buy a home. And we have done, the last time I checked, I think we were somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 to $400 million worth of loans of people that use Home Funded to be able to buy their
Wow.
home. And what was interesting when we first did this, and we were criticized because people were saying, "Oh, this is just another snappy mortgage deal to have people buy homes that they can't afford." Interesting thing is that people are putting down more down payment than the
Mhm.
minimum required The minimum required is generally 3 to 3.5%. Our average loan to value on a home funded loan is closer to double that number, at right around 94% loan to value, or about
Wow.
a 6% down payment. And
Mhm.
then lastly, all in one. All in one is a loan that's basically a sweep account for your mortgage. So everyone has a checking account. The money that's in your checking account tonight gets swept against your mortgage. So if you have a $500,000 loan on your home and you have $5,000 in your checking account tonight, that $5,000 goes against your mortgage. And today and tomorrow, you only owe $495,000 on
Mhm.
your mortgage. So you only charge interest on what the balance is. When you need that money back, it's very simple. You just write a check and the money comes back out of your mortgage and goes into your checking account. It's a two-way instrument.
Right.
You can't do that with a regular mortgage because it's only one way. So it has allows people to pay off their home a lot faster. I mean, if you think
Right.
about it, it's really difficult to lose your home in foreclosure
Mhm.
if you don't have a loan on your home.
Right.
So it's hard to lose your home that way. So home funded speeds up the process to pay off your home. Uh, I'm sorry, all in one speeds up the process to pay
Right.
off your home. Home funded helps you get into a home,
Mhm.
and hopefully Bank CMG will help you with some investment products in the not
Yeah.
too distant future.
I am so excited. You know, Chris, when I was 6 years old, I started working at my dad's barbershop, and the legacy he built in me in serving others outside of myself. But one of the things I want to ask you, for LOs watching this who might be feeling stuck or overlooked at their current mortgage company, how would transitioning to CMG improve their careers?
Immensely, I'm going to say the So I'm one of those guys that I like loan officers. In my heart of heart, I am a loan officer. I know loan products. I structure loans every day.
Hmm.
You would be hard pressed to find someone in the nearly 4,000 employees that work for CMG. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who does not have my cell phone number. I tell my loan officers to call me with either one of the O's, either the obstacle or the opportunity. The
Hmm.
obstacle, hey, I need a set of docs out, or I believe in this loan. I think we need to take a second look at it. We try very hard to live up to the mantra that you said: every customer, every time, no
Right.
exceptions, no excuses. And what we believe that means, or at least I believe that means, is don't settle. You need to go the extra step, and I can help you get that extra step because I've been
Mm.
doing this now for 43 years. It's all I've ever done. I'm good. I'm a good loan officer. I like to make a joke with the last name George. It's incumbent upon me to be curious, and so I like to create things. I like to look at things. I'm a good curveball hitter. I think I like hitting the curveball. So number one, being here, you got to I keep telling people I want to win the Loan Officer Assistant of the Year award.
Oh, wow. That's good.
So I'm there to help you with the obstacle, but also the opportunity. You want help selling the builder, the realtor, the financial advisor. You want to go and do a benefits fair at a particular company. You want me to do one of these. I like working with loan officers and I like helping them grow their business. So as a result, I think when you talk to loan officers leaving another company, and I talk to a lot of them, by the way.
Hmm.
I'm flying down to Texas tomorrow to talk to a top producing loan officer, and the reason I like doing that is because this loan officer is telling me that their company changed, that new management came in or something, and they just don't feel like they used to feel like we lost who we were.
Hmm.
And the way I make sure that we're not going to lose who we are from a culture and personality is I stay really involved in talking to the people that are coming on board. And further, I want them to feel free at any time to pick up the phone and call me because maybe sometimes that's how dumb rules get set up. If
Hmm.
you're not really talking to people all the time in the organization, you get stuck into these dumb rules. And I don't want dumb rules in our company. I want our rules to make sense. It's like when you go to a restaurant, Simeon, and you go walking up to the person eating their food and you
Hmm.
say, "Hey, how was your meal?" And they go, "Oh, it's fine." Well,
Right.
you know it wasn't.
It was terrible.
You know they're not happy, and they're
Right.
never coming back, by the way. So
Hmm.
you would prefer to have them go, "Well, what was fine about it?" "Well, to be honest with you, it wasn't that good. My food was cold. I didn't get what I ordered." "Okay, so I got a problem and I want to fix the problem." And there's nothing wrong with owning it and fixing the problem. And to me, one of the ways that I make sure that we don't get off track is I keep my ear to the ground closely to make sure that if something's going off kilter a little bit, we can get it back online quickly.
Mr. George, all I can say, listening to you, I'm hoping that those who are listening hear your heart, hear your passion for this business. I never would have dreamed that I would be at a company where I like-minded to be around someone who runs a company that has the opportunity to show his heart and show his passion. It's just wonderful to hear from you. So, Chris, people call you one of the humblest CEOs in the business, and I can vouch for that. So, how do you stay grounded while leading one of the top lenders in the nation?
Well, I suspect if you, I suspect my wife will take credit for that. So, uh, look, I mentioned this already, and you touched on leadership a moment ago. So I have four boys. All four of them work for the company in one capacity or another. My oldest son, AJ, is our capital markets and our security side. My second son, Philip, is on our marketing department. My third son, Harrison, is out in Idaho. He's a top loan officer in the company. I think he's number 7 or 8 in the company, of a couple thousand loan officers. My youngest son, Adam, is down in San Diego, also a loan officer, chasing after his brother. Before the boys could come to work for the company, I required them to do 2 jobs. The first job was I wanted them to do a food service job. I needed them to understand what it meant to serve.
Wow.
And service is important in the component and the characteristics of what you need in order to be a good leader. So first of all, you have to learn how to serve. Then after you learn how to serve, you have to learn how to follow. Now, a lot of parents think when you say, hey, listen, I'm not going to teach my kids to be a follower. I want my kids to be a leader. True, but the entire process of the democratic process means that you take a vote. And if there are 6 people in the room and 5 of them say we should go to the right, and you're the one that says, I want to go to the left, well, democracy rules by majority, and then the majority rules, and then you leave that room with the united front. You don't have to agree with the decision. You just got to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I require them to first serve. All 4 of the boys worked at some food service. And the second thing I want them to do is learn how to follow. And then after they do those 2 things, they can eventually lead. The last thing that the other job that I want them to do beyond a service job was I wanted them to do a manual labor job. I want them to know what it's like to actually work for a living. Now, those of you watching or listening to me, I know you all work for a living, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're tarring a roof in Florida in the middle of July, that's work.
That's work.
I'm telling you, with 104 degrees outside and nearly the same amount as humidity, that's work. My boys used to do a lot of different work at our ranch and also at a lot of construction sites. And come Friday night, they were so tired they couldn't lift their hands. I mean, that's good hard work. My father used to say to me that hard work works. You first need to learn how to work hard, period.
Yes.
And then once you learn how to work hard, you can sprinkle in some smart work. And then you get 1 plus 1 equals 3. Because hard work plus smart work is an accelerant, it's like a catalyst. And so you actually now are going to accomplish more than the sum of the parts. And so my boys started with that because that's how I started. I wasn't smart enough to get anywhere in school, so I just figured I'd outwork everybody. And by the time, if you all worked 8 hours a day, I worked 12. And if you worked 12, I'd work 17. And if you worked 5 days a week, I'd work 7. And if you didn't work on holidays, I did. And I just figured I'd outwork you. And then eventually I figured out how to get other people and teach them how to help me do the job. And, the wheel goes around. So I don't know. There's an old saying that says, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. You've heard that before?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I love what I do. I got bad days like everybody else, but I love what I do. I love what I get to do and who I get to do it with and who I get to do it for. And, on my time on the planet, I want to do as much of it as I can. And I don't know if that keeps me humble, but I certainly am having a pretty good time.
I can tell, and I can tell from the passion. Just listening to you reminds me of my own dad. He had us working. We were 6 years old. My dad would cut your hair. I would wash it, and he would cut it. My dad also had. He would have voting booths in his barbershop. He was just a guy who loved his community and loved people. And I think this business has allowed me to expand what my dad placed in me too. So I thank you for sharing that too as well. I got a
Very
question for
welcome.
you.
That's
When it's all said and done, what kind of legacy do you hope CMG and you personally leave behind?
well. I think part of the legacy is I'd like to think that we have constructed the company in such a way that it survives me not being here any longer. Like I mentioned already, my boys work here. I hope that
Hmm.
they have a hand in being able to be part of the leadership of this organization. Um, we've helped thousands, hundreds of thousands of people get into homes, stay in homes, and pay off their homes.
Right.
The legacy that I'd like to think that we were a good, honest, trustworthy organization, and that I was a good and honest and trustworthy leader. Have I made mistakes in my career? Most certainly. Have I paid for them dearly? Am I going to make more? I'm sure of it. But I think what I'd like to say is that I want folks to look at us and trust us with the biggest investment that they'll likely ever make,
Hmm.
and keep coming back when they're looking for another one, and understand that the transparency of the organization starts at the top with the president, CEO, founder handing out his cell phone number to an open mic. So
And I've used that mic. I love what you said that most people in our industry never talk about. You said pay off their mortgage. And that's one thing I love about CMG too, as well, is that we talk about not only purchasing a home, but paying it off. So, just a quick round for you, some quick clips for you to give me some feedback on favorite part of the mortgage business.
I mean, I'm going to go with loan officer. I,
Yeah,
I, I mean, I'm
yeah.
probably going to make underwriters mad. You're going to get me in trouble, Simeon. But I love
Say it,
talking
say
to
it,
loan.
say it, loan officers. That's right.
I I think like a loan officer. If you
Yeah.
believe it, I believe it. I like to figure out a way to help customers, and so I am a heart in my heart of hearts. I'm a loan officer. I like listening to the creativity of loan officers. Man, sometimes they'll come with me stuff. I'm like, what in the world? But I love that. I love it. I love
Yeah.
that.
Uh,
So that's my favorite part.
your best advice you ever received.
The best advice I have ever received is that the problem is rarely the problem. That the problem in your head is about 90% worse or 99% worse than the actual problem. I'm as guilty of this as the next guy. That I think that people will say and grind on the problem, and then when they go out and try to fix the problem, it isn't nearly as bad as the problem in your head. So the
Mm,
problem is rarely the problem.
right, right. That's good. Best book you ever read that helped you develop and become the man you are today.
Oh gosh, I read so many books. I mean,
Hmm.
can't put one on. I one of the things I do, which is good advice for your viewers and listeners. I tend to, well, first of all, if somebody gives me a book, I make them write in the inside cover the date and a little note about why this book is important to them or why they're giving it to me. Because what happens is you get a book, you put it on your shelf, you read it, you don't remember how you got it. We do when people will send us during the holiday times, they'll send a bottle of wine or whatever. I have a special pen that I can write. This is from Simeon. December 12, 25 to December 25. And then what I do is that someday when we ever drink that, when we're with family and friends, I'll look at the thing and say, oh, Simeon gave me this bottle of wine a couple of years ago. And so I will pour the wine, and then I'll take a picture of who I'm with, and I'll send a picture off to the person that gave me the wine, so they know that we get an opportunity to enjoy their gift. I will read anything people send to me. I don't care
Mm,
what it is, fiction,
mm,
fact, whether I agree with it or don't agree with it, political, one side or the other. It's my incessant and need to just learn.
mm.
I want to understand, and there are a lot of things that are rolling around in my head that probably have absolutely no bearing on the mortgage industry. During the weekends, you probably wouldn't even recognize me. We have a 1,100-acre cattle and bison ranch, and as of this morning, I had a, a, a bigger beard than you have. So, and so I like doing that on the weekends, but I also like learning things, and I get an opportunity to do that at the ranch quite a bit. So, if you send something to me, I'm reading it.
Got you. Now, this is going to be the toughest question you've ever had in any interview you've ever done. I need one word to describe CMG.
I would say passionate. And we're very passionate. And I also think that that comes from the culture and the personality. We're very passionate about how we serve our customer and how we treat one another. I'll give you one quick example. We had a loan officer make a mistake, and it turns out the borrower makes too much money for a bond program. It was a first-time home buyer, a good family. And it's one of those bond programs where you relieve 20% of the debt every year as long as they stay in the property for 5 years. So they called me up and said, can you help? It's a $10,000 bond. And so what I did is I made a contribution personally into a 501(c), which is a down payment assistance program that we have. And that down payment assistance program made the down payment bond program for them. Now, we don't make 10 grand on a loan this size. It's very small. But we made a pretty significant contribution to some family. Yeah. By the way, the borrower was never wiser. The borrower and the realtor did not know that we had done this. It's a mechanism of giving back. A lot of times I'll do things like, for you, I'll do this. And Simeon will say to me afterwards, okay, so how do I pay you back for, spending half an hour with me? And I said, you don't have to pay me back, Simeon. I want you to pay it forward. Yes. I want you to do something for someone else because they ask you to give them your time. And I want you to help somebody else in the future. And that's when you're going to pay me back. And so we're passionate about this industry. We're very, very committed. And the company that you employ here is as good as the person that you're speaking to. But again, that person needs a lot of support, meaning the support mechanism of the folks behind the scene. And so whether it's sales folks or operations folks, there's an equal level of passion across the whole company.
Man, I mean, that response alone, man, I told y'all this one was going to be special. Big shout out to you, Mr. George, for hanging out with me today, your heart and your vision behind CMG. Thank you for taking the time to pour into us today. What I love most about CMG is it's just not about mortgages. It's about, I say 3 P's: people, purpose, and possibilities. So if you're out there dreaming about owning a home, or you're a loan officer looking for a company that truly cares about your growth, let's connect. I'm Simeon the Mortgage Man with CMG Home Loans. And remember, you know it's coming. You know what I'm about to say. Everything Simeon touches turns the soul. So let's make your next move the best move. Call me, DM me, or tag someone who needs to see this because we're just getting started here at CMG. Thank you so much, Mr. Chris George, for your time and your passion for the mortgage profession.
That's the 4th P. Passion.
4 P's. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. George.
Yeah.
Be blessed, my brother.